what we did do was what you described, exchange of food. So we would always, like that would have been a big deal where my mother would pack up some persad, or maybe, we call it persad.
Yeah.
So my mother would pack up little packages, and, her sisters would have lived nearby, and it was like, you get on your bike and cycle over there and bring it to so-and-so, and you bring it to so-and-so. So
make sure you bring back the bowl.
And so you end up with this smorgasbord of all these different things. And then some aunties started to try different things, things that they didn't grow up with, and they started making things from other regions in India. So that was nice. And then, we were exposed to the different sweets, desserts, recipes, really. When you get to Google things, like even now, I'm Googling things, I'm going like, oh, I never had that. I don't know what that is. Will I make it? Will the kids eat it? And my kids won't eat anything like jalebi or laddu because it is so sweet. So they won't eat it. But I always try to get a selection of a few things, and, I'm a yoga teacher, and in previous years, when I have done yoga classes at Diwali, I've treated my students to Diwali sweets. So I do buy them because it is just so much easier. And then I chop them up so people can taste different little things. But again, just the first reaction people have, like, oh my God, it's so sweet. There's one important thing that I forgot to mention with the Diwali is that, when I mentioned that, my mother starts doing the shopping and the cooking and the cleaning as well. With that comes vegetarian eating. So not vegan, because, we're allowed cream and milk, but vegetarian eating, and no eggs. So for, maybe a week before, we would have no meat or fish or eggs. Milk and cream and cheese was also allowed. And in the early days, when my parents had just moved from South America to Europe, in the early days, we wouldn't even have animal products in the house. So there would be nothing in the fridge or the freezer even, so we were very strict. But as we were in the Netherlands for longer and longer, like turning on the lights at 4:00 because, we need to see what we're doing. We did become a little bit more, not lax, but, we let go of certain traditions. So even hearing your story now, it is so different to mine. And where we were growing up thinking that we weren't doing it the way it was supposed to be done because, we weren't doing it in India. The people that left India to go to Suriname to work for the Dutch, they left their families behind. They left everybody and everything behind, thinking that they would go back after their working contract was finished again. And then, there was no way back for them. So a lot of people chose to stay in Suriname. They always knew they were never going to go back. But then there was also a community of Indians from India thinking that they were going to go back to India after they'd made their fortune, in the new world. And there was no boat back for them. So they stayed in Suriname, maybe not properly prepared for the life that they would have without the support of family. So I think some people or some families that left, maybe they did not bring a certain set of knowledge with them because, it wasn't really necessary. Like, this is why, our rituals regarding Diwali is the way it is, because, 3, 4, 5 generations ago, they might have gone, we're not really sure what we're doing here because they didn't bring the knowledge with them.
How rituals change, how a culture changes. It changes, evolves, adapts, assimilates, integrates. I totally understand what you're saying about the knowledge, about rituals, because you bring in a person who wants to raise her boy at least understanding and having the sensitivity for other festivals. So, and now that he's 4, almost 4.5, he's got the rationale, the reasoning, the ability to ask questions and to really experience things. So I think it's the first time that I'm kind of invested in Diwali. And it's not like I'm going to go looking up stuff for how it should be done. I think we're going to figure it out together, our way. We're going to read about stuff. We're going to look at pictures. I'm going to tell him stories of my, just like how I'm sharing with you. And I suppose what I'm trying to say is that it's going to be very interesting as the years come now of how Ethan and I, and now Daddy too, we're going to get involved in creating our own rituals, creating our own way of celebrating Diwali. And it's a pity because of the pandemic. I think last year he got to see something happening in Cork. Was it Diwali or Navratri? I think it was Navratri, which is a whole other beautiful festival. And so hopefully next year, when they have the small gatherings in Cork, we'll go. Or not, because he might be like, no, Mom, it's too loud. No, I can't. We don't know. I don't know. It's basically going to be led by him and me just trying to usher him and say, this is what this is and this is how this is. And I'd say it would be unfair to just focus on one. It would be nice to focus on all different festivals from all different faiths, because I grew up that way. Out of my own curiosity, I would go and ask questions and find out, and you learn at school even, So I would like for him to have that.
Tradition is that what I'm doing now with my children and my husband in my house is quite similar to what I was doing with my parents when I grew up in their household. But we make little adjustments here and there. Like, we don't eat vegetarian for a whole week before Diwali. We just have vegetarian food on the day. And I don't clean out my freezer or my fridge if there are animal products in there. They stay in there, but we don't consume anything on the day. Well, I won't. But, maybe if my daughter says, I really feel like eating whatever she wants to eat, or like sausage, then go with it, if you really want it. But then I would also like to say, well, it's just one day, ask yourself, why must you? And that is another part of festivals, I guess, is that, you turn inwards and it's like, well, why am I doing this? Is this still working for me? And if you want to change it, why am I going to change it? What am I going to replace it with? And what purpose is that going to have? So I think traditions are great. I am not in favor of traditions, I have to say. And I've broken most traditions that were thrown at me in my life. But I do think traditions are great because it gives you a starting point. You can ask yourself, is this something that is going to work for me? And when I did Diwali on my own, that was just the way I did it. And then my husband came into the picture and we did it together. And he was very happy to come on board because, hey, who's going to say no to dal and laddu and, all the yummy food? So he was like, yeah, I'm there, all this lovely Indian food. So he did Diwali with me, but, I'm not doing any prayers. I'm not doing any prayers with him. I'm not blessing myself and I'm not blessing him either. And then when kids came along, I continued to do the same thing. So it is the tradition of, tidying the house, presenting the house a little bit better, like the way anybody would at Christmas or Easter, cleanliness and all that, cleanliness of mind, cleanliness of body, it's all the yoga principles are coming back when you look at Diwali. It's all weaved in the lifestyle. When I study more about Indian festivals and how the various people celebrate the festivals, the whole yoga principles come in there as part of the lifestyle. So that in itself, I like to pass on to my children, that they would have that for the rest of their life, even if they never set foot in a yoga studio. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they have that Indian heritage of, this is how we live. And if they choose never to celebrate Diwali, that's fine by me. And if they never choose to celebrate Christmas, that's also fine by me.
I think at the end of the day, we have to remember that we're people of the world. The world is so much smaller than it was before. And it's important. I think the rationale has to be there as well. And the more we read, the more knowledge we have, the better equipped we are to navigate every day and to navigate the week of Diwali even, you know. I just want to say I wish you a happy, happy, happy Diwali to your family and to all your loved ones and even to your students and everybody.
Thank you, Jo, and the same to you.
Yeah, and may the year be filled with light. May life always be filled with light, even on a gray day like today. May we always find the light inside us to help us, you know, live our best life, I suppose. Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So cliche, but so true, you know. And
Yes.
very often it's those cheesy cliches we go back to because they make so much sense. You know, it's such simple words. You hear them all the time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is what we're all striving towards, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Inner peace.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the chat.
Thank you for this time, Joanna.
Yeah.
Really lovely to chat to you.
Yes, you too. You too. Bye.
Bye, Joanna.